According to reports and pending a physical, the Giants have agreed to terms with linebacker Bobby Okereke, coming over from the Indianapolis Colts. He's Paul Dottino. I am John Schmeelk. It's all brought to you by Primepoint as the Giants get active in free agency, Paul. We all know they needed an inside linebacker. It was a bit of a carousel there last year between Jalen Smith and Jared Davis and other players throughout the year. Tay Crowder. They have a guy that started a lot of games, over 280 tackles for him over his last 2 seasons.
They call him Bobby O, and they really loved him out there in Indianapolis because you remember Darius Leonard got hurt. And so they had to wind up moving him. He was originally a middle linebacker in the previous regime, and then last year he played weak side linebacker. So Bobby O is a guy with 34-inch arms, very long arms for a linebacker. He's got tremendous length. He's got the ability to see through the laundry. He's able to avoid the traffic, and he's got a really good angle and a nose for the football. And that's what the Giants love about him, in the run game especially. Now, he also has range, which means he does have capability to cover tight ends or running backs coming out of the backfield. This is probably a fella that Wink Martindale's going to want to use on all 3 downs.
Yeah, we've spoken to Wink a lot about what he wants out of an inside linebacker. And when he talked about it, he says, if you have a slow Mike linebacker, you have a slow defense.
Right.
Well, Okereke ran a 4.58 at the Combine in 2019 when he came out. He has speed. He's not the biggest guy, 6'1", 235 pounds. He measured it, you mentioned it, 34.5-inch arms. What does Wink Martindale want? Length, speed. Oh, and he went to Stanford. He's smart
Yes,
as a
he
third-round
is.
pick out of Stanford. So he kind of meets all those criteria that Wink Martindale wants out of his middle linebacker.
We talk about Wink's positionless defense, or I like to call it the kaleidoscope defense. Well, guess what? The Colts people were also saying not only can he play middle linebacker or weak side linebacker, they've often thought that he could be the strong side linebacker as well. That's how smart, versatile, and astute he is as a football player. Now, you remember when he played the Giants last year, when the Giants clinched their playoff spot against the Colts at MetLife Stadium, he had a career-high 17 tackles in that game. So they got a real good up-close look at him right here at East Rutherford.
And he's entering his prime. He turns 27 years old in July. He's heading into his 5th season. So here's a guy that's coming off of his best year and seems to be an ascending player as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple of little quick stories here. You know how Brian Daboll says tough, smart, and dependable? Well, how about these stories about Bobby O? It was back in 2020 when he played with a broken thumb and played through it, and apparently gained a whole lot of respect in the Colts locker room. Last year against Jacksonville, he broke his pinky to the point where during the game, the bone actually ripped through the skin. They took him back into the locker room, popped the bones back into place, and then sewed the skin shut over the broken bone, and he went out and finished the game, and then played with a wrap the ensuing weeks. This guy is tough with a capital T.
And you mentioned the speed. Colts play primarily a zone scheme, but he has the speed to play man-to-man. And the Colts also didn't blitz him much. So we don't have much experience with him as a blitzer, but he has the speed to do that. In his career, 3 career interceptions, 2 career sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries. So, Paul, this guy does have an eye for the ball, an ear for the ball, and he knows how to make plays.
You want to make sure that the guys up front clear out the traffic so he's got room to operate. That's what it's all about for him.
If this was 15 years ago, he's a pure run-and-hit 4-3 weak side linebacker. Now, he's more of an inside linebacker in a 3-4, which is the Giants will use him there. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. Bobby Okereke is a member of the New York Football Giants. It's all brought to you by Primepoint.